today this is actually going to be a supplementary lesson that you can actually use to practice, especially at home, to further practice your hand-eye coordination skills for Filipino martial arts or FMA. As we all know, FMA is mostly a weapon-based art, and it means that you're actually going to use weapons. So primarily we actually use sticks to do the motion, and as you can see now, I'm actually also using my hands to do the same motion as well. Since in FMA it actually primarily focuses on the drills that you do and the movements, not exactly on the weapons that you use primarily. And so in order for you to actually further understand the motions of this, even though you actually know how to do this already, this is what you call the Heaven 6. The reason why it's called the Heaven 6 is because you're actually focusing on this top portion right here. So it's basically from the chest upwards. That's the reason why it's Heaven 6. If it's called a Earth 6, you're actually focusing on the lower portion, so from the waist down, like so. So if somebody says Heaven and Earth 6, you're combining the top portion with the lower portion, like so. I'm not just focusing on this plane, this upward plane, I'm also hitting the lower plane. Now, one of the concepts that can actually help you in understanding how to incorporate properly the Heaven 6, for example, or basically just crossing your hands in FMA, especially if you're holding a knife or a stick. Most of the movements that you would see are actually guntings or scissors. So you basically just cross your hands this way and opening them. It's basically just learning how to do the open and close stance. What I mean by that is, as you can see right here, right now, my arms are on my sides, kind of like I'm holding a huge ball in front of me. Or if you're actually going to hug someone, especially if your best friend is running towards you and you haven't seen for a long time, you're actually opening your arms, especially when they just came from their tiresome flight. So you actually open your arms and then you embrace them. The first part is the open stance. And the second part that's incorporated in Filipino martial arts is the closed stance. See the huge difference? Open stance is where you actually have your chest open, especially your center line. Center line would be actually at the center. So, like so, this is the center line. Like so, this is an open stance. And if you actually try to embrace yourself like so, this is what you call the closed stance. Now, it's not just these two. There are actually at least 3, if not 4. Technically 4, but you're just going to learn 3 of those. So this is open, close, and the other one is actually the, you guessed it, half open and half closed. Same on the other side. So this is the 4th, half open and half closed. Now, why is this important? It's important because it actually makes you learn the hand movements easier. It actually helps you how to do the open and closing stance and what you can actually do in those stances. So for example, let's say an opponent comes after me. He tries to punch on my center line again, and I'm standing normally here. For example, relaxed, like you're just facing your this guy is trying to talk to you, and then for no other reason other than for surprise, he just tries to punch you. See? Although it's part of the Heaven 6, what I actually did is I closed, I did a closing stance, and then I do a open and close stance, and then open and close stance again. So as I break down the move here, attack is coming towards me. I close, or should I say I open first, taking a step at my side, usually a 45-degree angle, So you're stepping here, you're not just stepping on the side right there. I open, close, and then that's actually hitting the arm. For me to check the arm, this hand right here, I open. It makes me open my first half of my chest. And my hand here is closed, since my hand here is close to my chest. As you can see here, difference of an open and close. So this is full open, full close, half open, half close, half open, half close. Once it comes towards me, I step 45 degrees, I open, I close, and then I can decide to take another step, but for demonstration purposes, we're just going to do the upper torso, the arms. I half open, half close with my left, and then I grab the hand close to my chest, closing my left side and opening my right side for me to strike. See? Again, without stepping, or should I say with stepping, just one step, 45-degree angle, attack, going to my center line, step, open, close. That's a hit. Half open, half close on my chest, on my left side. And then, half open, half close on my right, making this as a strike. Like so. So it makes you fully understand, or at least give you a little bit of understanding on what the Heaven 6 does. So instead of just focusing on the Heaven 6 where you just do this and then just do the step, although that's actually good, if you incorporate the opening and closing understanding on doing the Heaven 6 or doing the hand motions in your stances or in your practice, for example your shadow boxing, or even on the bag, or even with your partner, say you're doing the stick drills, right? If your opponent gives you a stick strike, you open, so that's a block with a stick. And then you close. That's another block, or possibly a hit on the side, since the stick is going here, your opponent's body is right here. And then you open, and then you close again. Or should I say half open, half close. And you can apply the opening and closing stances on a lot of situations. So you can also do the upward portion, like so. We can also do the lower portion, the legs, from the lower torso, hips, down. So say a kick comes. See, I open, take a step, and then I close as I kneel, like so. If this were a stick, you're actually hitting the leg with the stick. If you're using your hands here, your empty hands, you're actually going to make a fist, doing a hammer strike on the leg, possibly hitting the inner portion of the calf, like so. See, I'm doing a closed position already. And then, when you do an open position, you can actually choose to open, do an open stance right here at the bottom. But since you're actually using momentum, since you actually went here already, you can actually do a springing motion and do an open stance, hitting his face instead, or hitting the side of the neck. And then you do a close, and by actually closing your stance, from here, you're actually doing an overhand strike with your left, or an overhand fist, or an overhand hammer fist, or an overhand slap, like so. So again, attacks coming in on my center line right here. Say my opponent kicks, I open, close as I kneel. It doesn't matter if you're just using your open hand for now, or a hammer fist, or imagining that you have a stick. Practicing the closing and opening stance. So I close. Now instead of actually doing the opening portion here, since I already hit the leg, you would want to actually hit the head, so that you can actually make or give more damage to your opponent. So you rise up, open, and then you end up with closing your stance, like so. You can choose again to do a slap, do a hammer fist, do an overhand, Or even if your opponent is too close, you can actually do an elbow. Doing closing stance. Like so. It is not just basically you actually doing an opening and closing stances when your opponent is actually in front of you. You can actually just parry. So do a close. And then I do an open. This is a variation of an open stance since both of my hands are not from my chest. So this is an open, push, and then you can just run forward. So there you have it. The opening and closing stances are really a huge tool when it comes to actually understanding on how to incorporate the hand motions of the Heaven 6, especially when you're doing empty hands. It's a lot easier to actually understand, and it actually helped me understand a little bit better on doing the Heaven 6. You can actually practice doing this on a door, for example, which I'm actually going to show you right now. So here we are with a door, for example. So any kind of door that you have right now, if you have a kitchen door or bathroom door, or even the door of your bedroom, you can actually use as a practice tool, provided that it's actually open. As you can see here, it's swinging from the hinges. So make sure that your door is open, and make sure that the hallway or the place is entirely clear, because by practicing using the door, you might actually accidentally hit your whoever's in the household. You can actually hit yourself. You might hit your pet dog, or you might hit your family member within the house. So you don't want to do that. So you have to be careful when practicing using the door. Just make sure that everything is clear. So to explain further how to do the opening and closing stances in your practice, say for example, my opponent, my imaginary opponent is at my center line, like so. So again, center line is here. So you can see the middle of my chest, that's the center line. Like so. You don't have to be too far, just close enough for you to actually practice the opening and closing stances. So you do a closing stance, as I demonstrated a while ago. Take a step 45 degrees. You don't want to take a step at the side. That's a very rare case for you to do, but primarily you would actually want to take a step 45 degrees so that you can actually have your opponent with his or her momentum just go straight here. So that's the reason why you want to have a step 45 degrees. Take a step 45 degrees. This is an opening stance, and now you close. See? The reason why it's very good in practicing using the door is because you actually have feedback with the door. You don't want to actually smack it too much, because you won't have a door if you put 100% force on it, or else you're actually going to buy a new door to replace it. So you don't want that. So, like so, take a 45 step degree. Take a step 45 degrees, opening, closing. It makes you feel, it makes your body feel, correction there, on what you're doing when you're doing a closing stance. So you're not just going to do like so, because you're actually going to hurt yourself too much. So that's the reason why you're using a door. 45 step degrees, open, close. It doesn't matter if you're hitting with the palm, but right now it's better if you're just hitting with your fingers. Ever so slightly. Like so. Then close. And then you then open your stance. See? That's the good feedback. By opening your stances, or your stance rather, with your hand, arms open wide. As you can see here, I do here. Notice that the door moved back. That's the feedback that you want. Because in reality, if you're actually going to hit the person with a back fist, for example, or with a backhand like I just did, the person would naturally go to this side, just like what the door did. And then you can follow up with another close, like so. And then they move further back. Once again, center line, 45 degree step, open, close. It doesn't matter if the door is right here. If the door moves here, that's fine, as long as it doesn't move too far off. again, 45-degree, open, close. And then I can choose to take another step or just stay where I am and just open my arms. And then do another close to my right side this time. Like so. Once again, 45 degrees, step, open, close. Open, close. Like so. Okay? And you can actually practice the half close, half open also. So just like the natural motion of the head in 6, which is like the first 2. Like so, it's not just 1, 2. It's like 1, then you slide, and then 2. So you can actually practice the half close, half open stance in this door as well. So not just doing the full close and then full open. Just like the heaven 6, where instead of doing the 1, 2, you're doing the 1, 2. See? This is the full parry and then you fully check. You can actually do it on the door also. So as I demonstrated on my right side, so you can actually see the reaction of the door. Center line, 1, 2. See? Notice that when I do that, the door again naturally goes to one side, mimicking or simulating that the person that I did with that in reality would actually move to that side, to this side right here. So that's the reason why it's a very good way to receive feedback when you're practicing these stances. So again, 45-degree step. Instead of doing a full open, I do a small open. See? My chest is still open, my center line is still open. I haven't done any closing stance yet. 45-degree, half full close, and then I half close, half open. Obviously, the door would actually go to that direction depending on the force that you apply to it. So if you're actually going to do this motion like so, if you're going to actually use full force, the door will fly away, and you don't want to do that. For training purposes, you would actually want to control yourself, so you actually need to pace. So just like what I did here, 45-degree, do a close, and then I open, half open, like so. And if you want to go to the other side, this is the reason why it's good to actually don't use full force, so that you can actually do a continuous motion in practice. That's the key thing. This is a practice. 45-degree step, open, close, here, and then I close again to parry. Then I close again to parry. Close again to parry. Then close, parry, close, parry, close, parry, close, parry. Or you can actually do 45 degrees, like so. There you go. And you don't have to actually be strict depending on the learning curve that you're in right now. If you're still just trying to get the full motion of the stances, just simply practice the full opening and closing. Close, open, close, open. When you open, right, like so, close here. When you fully open, make sure that your entire opening hand or the opening side of your chest is actually on the side of the door. Because if you're just going to do a closing here and then you fully open, obviously your hand's going to jam on the door. So you need to actually go forward and make sure that your arm is actually on the other side of the door. So it's not just jammed here. You want to actually fully extend that. Then close, fully extend. See? Then close, fully extend. Close, fully extend. Now if you can't actually extended right here, then you can adjust by taking another step with your other leg, and then close, like so. So, half, can actually do it right so. And the good thing about the door is it's very dynamic. So if the door moves too far away, you can actually practice your stances this way and then try to adjust. So if the door is flying too far and I can't reach it, like so. If the door is actually flying too far, I can actually reach, like so. See? I just didn't stand and do that. I tried to reach, like so. See, this is the reason why you want to practice with the door with a very, very clear space. Making sure that no one is actually coming in your direction or in your training area. Because if you push the door too hard and somebody comes inside your room, for example, and they didn't know that your room is open, you might actually hit them. So be careful with practicing this. Again, you don't need to go full force, or you don't need to go all out. Like so. So there you have it with the opening and closing stances. Again, for just reviewing purposes, to wrap up everything that we have discussed. The stances that you would like to learn and practice that would actually help you in practicing the Heaven 6 most especially, or in just crossing your arms in general, so that you can actually have a better understanding in utilizing the full potential of the Heaven 6 in Filipino martial arts. First is the opening stance. Remember, the opening stance is where your chest is actually open, so your hands are not within your chest or within your center line. Closing stance, where you actually have both of your hands right here. In Filipino martial arts, is actually not a bad thing because you actually have a lot of uses with this. And then half open, half close, where this is half closed because my right hand is on my chest, and this is open because my hand is actually outside or in my side and it's not touching my chest, and on the other side as well. So again, open stance, closed stance, half open, half closed left, half open, half closed right. And to add a bonus tip, this is actually these stances are primarily useful especially with footwork. That's the reason why I emphasized with walking or taking a step on a 45-degree angle instead of actually doing or taking a step on just your side. Because in doing so, not only is your assailant or opponent's momentum going here, but it actually helps you be on your opponent's side, and primarily, if you can, just reach your opponent's back if you choose to decide. As long as you're off center line, that's it. You don't want to be here. You want to be here. See? So incorporate with the footwork, for example. So, same thing on the other side. Or take a step. That's it. So there you have it. Hopefully this has helped you even in the smallest way possible. And although it's not going to actually be an emphasis, this is just a supplementary lesson for you to fully understand and fully utilize on how to actually use the having 6 weapons or the empty hands, especially when you're actually doing locks. One comes right here. That's a lock. See? If I do it to show here, lock right here. That's a lock on the arm. You're popping the elbow. It's actually going to be painful. See, that's a very that's actually the huge help that the opening and closing stances do. See it close, open, lock. So there you have it. Hopefully this video again has helped you even in the smallest way possible. God bless you all. Always train safe and take care.